it's very important that you know what you're talking about and that
Yeah.
you are properly
And then
representing the
that's
church.
why I have a problem with Mormons claiming they represent the church, saying, "Oh yeah, Mormon it's definitely a Mormon teaching that God was originally a man, and then that he was like created by another God, and that there's an infinite regress."
Blake Ostler says the lectures on faith are inconsistent with the notion maintained by many early Mormon leaders that the God whom we worship has a father, and this father of God also has a father, and so on ad infinitum. He also writes, I believe that until recently, almost all Mormons believed that Joseph Smith taught that God progressed to become fully divine from a lower state of non-divinity. Thus it was believed that God the Father became God. Before that, he was something less than God. During the eternal time period before which he was God or fully divine, he worshiped and was subject to another God who was more ultimate than he was. He also writes, I believe that Mormons commonly believe that God the Father became God through a process of moral development and eternal progression to godhood. LDS scholar Matthew Bowman writes, throughout the 19th century, many church leaders embraced the notion that God had achieved godhood through a process of maturation, learning, and growth. Young took Smith's meaning at its most frank, imagining a long chain of divine parents. For the apostles James E. Talmage and John A. Widtsoe and the 70 B.H. Roberts, it made much sense that God became God the same way that species evolved, through effort and education. LDS philosopher Joseph Lawal says, I think most people who think God is an exalted man actually think there is an infinite regress of gods, so there was no first. LDS apologist Hayden Carroll says, I take the more traditional LDS view of God was once a man and that there is a never-ending line of deities who have become what they are today. LDS scholar Stephen O. Smoot writes, Infinite regress has been the dominant reading of this sermon since Brigham Young. Both of these are theological inferences based on teachings in the King Follett Discourse. I happen to think the infinite regress reading is probably the most logical reading of the sermon.